When it comes to the online world, it's never been harder to distinguish between what's true and what's not. The way a story is presented to us can significantly influence our perceptions. Just ask anyone you know in PR. Among other things, PR experts work to influence how an audience feels about a brand, a narrative, a personality, or a place. Famously good in a crisis. They can help celebrities, politicians, and companies recover from a public disaster. While traditional PR strategies involve careful planning and targeted execution, a new digital player uses sheer scale to influence public opinion. PR bots. I want to talk to you about how these digital armies can be programmed to target our social media algorithms and the content we do or don't get served. First, let's get clear on what is a bot. A bot is a software application that performs automated, repetitive tasks over a network. It follows a specific instruction it's been given to mimic human behavior. They're programmed to look like humans, sound like humans, only they generate content at a speed and scale we humans simply can't. Just check any popular Instagram account, including ours. Within seconds of posting, celebrity accounts will be inundated with dozens of comments from users, usually promoting a financial service or porn. Ugh. Don't get me wrong, some bots can be used to make our lives easier. For example, Siri or ChatGPT. But others, like the pyramid scheme bots on Instagram, are less helpful. So we know with certainty that these bots can negatively impact real people online. But how? Dr. Sophia Melanson-Ricciardone from Canada's McMaster University did a PhD on the rise of botaganda, which means she's a literal doctor of bots. Dr. Bot. Doc. Her research focuses on how automated accounts can manipulate algorithms to serve us familiar or appealing content. Ultimately, she says this can persuade us to act against our own best interests. Dr. Ricciardone told me about something called #flooding, which is essentially a tweet containing nothing but popularized keywords and catchphrases in the form of multiple hashtags. This tactic, as well as the rapid resharing of human posts, as in thousands and thousands of times a day, can create the illusion of widespread support or opposition for a particular viewpoint. The concept of herd mentality comes into play here. She says, we're social beings, so our natural reflex is to go with the flow, especially if that flow confirms our underlying biases. That's how bots capture our attention. Need an example? Let me take you back to the celebrity trial of the century. 2 years ago, Johnny Depp filed a lawsuit against his ex-wife Amber Heard. The case related to an opinion article Heard wrote for the Washington Post, where she alleged she had experienced domestic abuse. Heard didn't name Depp, but he launched defamation proceedings against her, arguing he was identifiable from the article. Depp denies claims he physically abused Heard. The proceedings were publicly streamed online, but as the case played out in the courtroom, the internet mounted its own unofficial trial of Amber Heard.
Some of the main themes were that Amber Heard deserves prison, Amber Heard is a gold digger, Amber Heard is a fraud, Amber Heard is a liar. There was a hashtag, Justice for Johnny Depp, that was viewed 15.7 billion times. Hashtag, Justice for Amber Heard, viewed a fraction of that. And my friends were suddenly saying things that didn't really sound like them. They were saying, well, what if this time she was the abuser? And these were people who typically in the Me Too movement would be a bit more cynical or maybe a bit more reserved in making a judgment like that.
That's Xavier Greenwood, the producer behind the Who Trolled Amber podcast. The Tortoise team analysed a database of over 1 million tweets targeting her during the defamation proceedings. The team found that more than half of those tweets were inauthentic, posted either from a spam account or amplified in an inauthentic way, for example, being reshared thousands upon thousands of times. Greenwood said there was probably a bunch of different interests at play, like genuine Johnny Depp fans buying inauthentic accounts to bolster support for their favourite actor. Greenwood floats what he calls a more abstract theory, suggesting governments like China and Russia often
they seek out issues which divide Britons, divide Americans, divide Australians. They try to sort of drive a deeper wedge.
He also suggested that bots targeting Amber Heard may have even been linked to the Saudi government. But you'll have to listen to the podcast for more on that.
We saw that this was a problem which could go beyond just celebrity trials. So what's to stop someone doing the same thing when it comes to attacking a politician or when it comes to trying to sway an election?
Picture a cluster of bot accounts programmed to stir the political pot and stoke division online. Australian researchers at CyberCX recently uncovered a cluster of at least 5,000 fake X accounts linked to a Chinese university and AI company. These accounts were exclusively creating or resharing content, disinformation, and conspiracy theories linked to these 5 topics. US Vice President Kamala Harris claims the 2020 US election was rigged. Controversial Australian political issues, including nuclear nuclear energy and immigration policies, Australia's relationship with China, and far-right riots in the UK. The executive director of CyberCX said China's recent bot operations aim to amplify extreme views and weaken social cohesion in Western democracies. Last month, the Biden administration charged Russian media executives over an alleged targeted online campaign to influence voters in the US. It comes after US officials seized 32 internet domain names that were covertly targeting specific demographics on social media and promoting AI-generated false narratives to those groups. Now, back to Dr. Richardone. She has urged voters everywhere to inform themselves on the ways online discourse can be distorted in strategic and calculated ways ahead of an election. As for what comes next, Xavier Greenwood says we're in largely uncharted waters.
To some extent, the genie is out of the box, and what we saw with the Amber Heard trial, we may well continue to see in an even more intense way in the future.